Listen closely, chosen one. This word isn't coming to everyone. It's being whispered to those who have felt the pull of two worlds, the old and the new. You've come too far to turn back now, yet lately the temptation has been real. Familiar places call your name, old habits try to lure you, and people from your past suddenly reappear as if nothing ever changed. But deep down, you know something has shifted. You've shifted. Heaven sent this message to catch you in that moment between hesitation and destiny. God is saying, don't go back. The path behind you may look safer, but it no longer fits the person you're becoming. The reason the past suddenly looks appealing is because the enemy can sense what's ahead, and he's terrified of your forward motion. You've been climbing a silent mountain. Every step has cost you something: relationships, comfort, certainty, and now, just before the summit, the winds of doubt have begun to whisper. But this is the very sign that breakthrough is near. The resistance isn't proof that you're wrong. It's confirmation that you're close. You see, every chosen one faces this crossroad, the urge to retreat versus the call to advance. The enemy wants you to believe that what you lost was your best, but heaven knows what's coming next. God's hand is already stretching forward, guiding you toward what eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard. Hear this clearly: if you try to rebuild what God tore down, it will only bring confusion. If you reopen doors He closed, peace will leave the room. But if you trust Him and keep walking, you'll find yourself standing in places that once lived only in prayer. This is not the time to doubt your progress. This is the moment to anchor your faith. The same God who led you out will lead you through. You are not who you were. You are the proof of transformation, the living prophecy of endurance. So take a breath, wipe the tears, lift your eyes, because the message tonight is simple but sacred. Don't go back. Forward is the only direction heaven is blessing now. Because when heaven redirects your steps, it's never to punish you, it's to position you. What you call endings, God calls alignment. What felt like rejection was actually redirection. There are things you prayed for that didn't manifest, not because He ignored you, but because they no longer fit the version of you that's stepping forward. The Spirit of God has been gently steering your life, even in silence. Every detour, every closed door, every delay, none of it was random. There were conversations you weren't meant to hear, opportunities that would have drained your spirit, and people who could not walk with you into what's coming. It wasn't cruelty. It was mercy disguised as distance. This message comes from a higher place, from the heart of the one who sees the entire map, while you can only glimpse the road beneath your feet. The same hands that carried you through the wilderness are now writing a new chapter over your destiny. And though you may not understand every turn, heaven does not make mistakes. In the quiet spaces of your waiting, God has been preparing you for divine movement. The silence wasn't absence, it was incubation. You've been hidden, not forgotten. Like a seed beneath the soil, unseen. But alive, your roots have been deepening in faith, so your fruit can endure the storm. There's a stirring in the unseen realm right now, an orchestration of divine timing. Pieces are aligning. Hearts are being softened, doors are being prepared to open at the appointed moment. You can't see it all yet, but heaven has already moved on your behalf. This word comes to those who have felt the tension between gratitude and grief, thankful for what God has done, yet mourning what they had to leave behind. But listen, you didn't lose, you were lifted. The elevation required separation. Some chapters needed to close so your spirit could expand beyond where you once settled. You are being led by a divine current even when your surroundings look uncertain. That inner pull you feel, that holy unrest, it's heaven calling you forward. The path is narrow because it's sacred. Few can walk it. But those who do walk with angels unseen. This is the point where faith becomes sight, Not because you've reached the destination, but because you've learned to trust the voice that leads you through the dark. That's what this word is: confirmation. That God Himself has not only heard your prayers, but is answering them in His timing, His way, His rhythm. And soon, when the fog lifts and the path clears, you'll understand why certain things couldn't stay, why certain people faded, and why God's no was actually the foundation for your next. So breathe again. You are not behind, you're being divinely aligned. There is a moment known only in the language of heaven when the future begins to whisper. You may not hear it with your ears, but your spirit feels it, a subtle trembling, a quiet urging that says, keep walking. That moment is now. The old season has completed its assignment, and the mantle of something new is resting upon your shoulders. God is unveiling the next movement of your journey, and it begins with one command forward. What lies ahead may still be veiled by mist, but the path exists. The steps have already been ordered. Every promise, every tear, every midnight prayer has been converging toward this appointed time. You are standing between dimensions, the place where the familiar fades and the divine unfolds. Heaven has been shifting the atmosphere around your life. Unseen arrangements are aligning. People who once misunderstood you are being quietly removed from your path, and doors that stayed locked for years are beginning to respond to the sound of your obedience. This is the hour of divine acceleration. Things that used to take years will now unfold in days, not because you forced them, but because you surrendered. The waiting was never wasted. It was preparation for sudden movement. You've been walking through the valley with eyes that couldn't see yet. Heaven saw every step. The Lord says, I am the one who closes the chapter so you can walk into the promise. Do not mourn what I have removed. It was necessary for your rising. In this new movement, there will be a clear separation between what is holy and what is hollow, between what is divine and what is distraction. The veil is thinning, and the Spirit is awakening your discernment to recognize what carries His breath and what does not. You will feel drawn toward environments that feed your growth and repelled by anything that drains your peace. Conversations will begin to reveal hidden motives, and even silence will start to speak louder than words. God is pruning not to punish, but to multiply. Every cut is clearing the path for fruit that will last. And though the pruning may sting, it carries a sacred promise. Whatever remains after the fire is what was meant to flourish. In visions and dreams, some of you will begin to sense new instructions, creative blueprints, divine strategies, sudden inspirations that seem too bold to be your own. Don't dismiss them. They are seeds of destiny. Heaven's ideas looking for willing vessels. You've been chosen not merely to survive, but to represent what divine endurance looks like. There is authority being birthed in your voice. It carries the vibration of one who has wrestled with angels and prevailed. But here lies the holy mystery. Before manifestation comes migration. God will ask you to move not just geographically, but spiritually, to relocate your faith from fear to confidence, from waiting to walking. The promise will not meet you where you were. It's waiting where He's calling you to go. The Lord is saying, I'm leading you by unseen rivers. Don't fear the unfamiliar. My glory travels ahead of you. Every place your foot steps has already been claimed in the Spirit. Even now, while you listen, heaven is rearranging things in your favor. A divine reversal is taking shape. What the enemy meant for harm is being rewritten as testimony. Every delay has been recalculated into destiny. You will look back soon and realize that nothing was lost. Everything was translated into purpose. The doors that shut were not denials, they were divine diversions, steering you toward the exact place of promise. So walk forward, even trembling, because the unseen hand that called you out is the same hand that holds you up. The storm behind you has served its purpose. It purified your faith. The horizon before you glows with promise. And soon, when the new day fully dawns, you'll understand why heaven whispered, "Don't go back," because what's ahead carries the weight of everything you prayed for and more. Every divine command carries a hidden lesson, and this one, "Don't go back," is not just about direction. It's about identity. It's about remembering who you are becoming, not who you were. When God calls you forward, it's because what He's placed within you has outgrown the environment that once sustained you. The old version of you was necessary for your foundation, but not for your fulfillment. The spiritual meaning behind this word runs deeper than movement. It is transformation. It is the shedding of the skin that no longer fits your spirit. You are being called out of comfort, out of repetition, out of cycles that disguise themselves as security. The backward pull you feel is not nostalgia, it's warfare. The enemy always attacks before elevation, and his favorite strategy is familiarity. He knows if he can make you long for what you've outgrown, he can delay what's meant for your destiny. The past is seductive because it's known. But what's known isn't always safe. Sometimes it's the comfort that kills growth. The Israelites once longed for Egypt, not because it was good, but because it was predictable. God had to show them that freedom, though frightening, was the only environment where promise could bloom. You are walking through your own wilderness of transformation, and heaven is reminding you, this is not regression, it's resurrection. Spiritually moving forward is an act of faith that transcends sight. It's the willingness to trust God even when every natural sign says, stay where you are. The moment you decide not to return, you release heaven's power to create new ground beneath your feet. Faith is motion. Fear is paralysis. The kingdom only meets those who move. The backward call of the past often comes when your spirit is about to cross thresholds. You may notice the sudden return of old patterns, temptations, or people you thought you'd left behind. These are not coincidences, they are checkpoints. Each one asks the same question. Will you stay the same or will you ascend? In the divine rhythm, seasons are never wasted. Winter hides what spring will reveal. Your pruning season, the loneliness, the quiet, the isolation wasn't punishment. It was purification. God stripped away distractions so that when He speaks now, you can recognize His voice instantly. The silence taught you discernment. The storms taught you stability. Every test was secretly training. Every delay was secretly divine discipline. You've been learning the language of heaven, the pauses, the promptings, the inner knowing that cannot be explained but cannot be denied. And now that same inner voice is guiding you forward. The call not to go back is also an invitation to trust God's rhythm over your reasoning. The mind wants to rebuild what the spirit has already left. But when you insist on returning to what God released you, end up carrying burdens you were never meant to bear again. That's why peace leaves when you try to re-enter old spaces, because grace has moved on. Spiritually, grace is location-specific. It covers you where God plants you, not where He pulled you from. When He told Lot's family not to look back, it wasn't cruelty. It was mercy. The city was collapsing under judgment, and looking back was an act of unbelief, a tether to a world God had already left behind. The same principle applies to you. Don't look back at the ruins with longing. Let the ashes be ashes. Let them fall where they may. There's a hidden beauty in surrender. When you stop resisting change, heaven starts revealing the masterpiece that's been forming behind the veil. You're not losing stability. You're gaining alignment. You're not walking away from people. You're walking into purpose. You're not losing time. You're synchronizing with divine timing. The forward call is a holy summons. It's heaven's way of saying your capacity has expanded. What once contained you can no longer sustain you. That's why the old feels tight, suffocating, draining. You've outgrown it in the spirit before your circumstances could catch up. Understand this. The kingdom of God moves in patterns: death, burial, resurrection. Something in your old life had to die so that something divine could rise. It's the sacred exchange of endings for beginnings of closure, for calling. And as you walk forward, you're walking in the rhythm of redemption. Every step is rewriting your story. Every act of obedience becomes a seed in eternity's soil. The harvest you're about to witness isn't random. It's the outcome of faith planted in hidden seasons. So don't despise the transition. Don't fear the unknown. You are walking with angels, with promise, with purpose. God is not just taking you to something, He's transforming you through something. The deeper meaning is simple, yet sacred. To follow God forward is to become who you truly are. To turn back would be to betray the miracle He's building within you. Keep your eyes on the horizon. What looks like emptiness is simply unmanifested glory waiting for your next step. When God begins to move you forward, He never leaves you without signs. They come quietly at first, small confirmations, divine echoes that reassure your spirit that you're on the right path. If you've been wondering whether heaven is truly guiding you onward, listen to these markers. They are not coincidences, they are coordinates. First, the unrest. You've noticed how the things that once felt comfortable now feel heavy. The places where you used to fit suddenly feel too small. Conversations that once entertained you now drain you. That unease is not confusion, it's confirmation. God disturbs your peace in the wrong place to lead you toward peace in the right one. Second, divine separation. Certain people have faded without warning. You didn't offend them, and nothing dramatic happened yet, the connection dissolved. This is not rejection, it's redirection. God is pruning your relationships so that only those aligned with your assignment remain. Every time someone leaves, heaven is making space for who truly belongs. Third, sudden alignment. You've begun to see small synchronicities, doors opening unexpectedly, opportunities appearing from nowhere, words spoken by strangers that echo your private prayers. These are heaven's fingerprints. The Spirit communicates through timing. When things begin to fall into place with minimal effort, that's the rhythm of grace leading you forward. Fourth, the heightened sensitivity. Your discernment has sharpened. You sense spiritual shifts before they manifest. Songs, numbers, dreams, and moments of deep inner knowing have intensified. That's because your frequency has changed. When you ascend spiritually, your perception widens to match your calling. You're beginning to feel what God is doing, even before you see it. Fifth, the revived desire. After seasons of fatigue and numbness, passion is stirring again. Ideas, callings, creativity you thought had died are awakening. This isn't random motivation. It's resurrection power breathing into dormant purpose. Heaven reignites what hell tried to extinguish. The fire returning to your heart is a sign that your next chapter is near. Sixth, divine protection. Lately, you've been spared from situations that could have harmed you. Perhaps a job didn't work out, a deal collapsed, or a meeting was canceled at the last minute, and later you realized why. These divine interruptions are shields. Heaven sometimes answers your prayers by closing doors you didn't know were dangerous. Each of these signs is heaven's gentle nod saying, keep walking. The Spirit never shouts when a whisper will do. The confirmations come in waves. Peace that surpasses logic. Words that meet you at the exact moment of doubt, and small mercies that remind you you're not navigating this alone. When these signs appear, don't analyze them to death. Receive them. They're the evidence that your obedience is producing movement in realms you can't yet see. You are being guided by orchestration, not accident. So pay attention to the rhythm of your days. When the familiar begins to crumble, and yet your heart feels strangely steady, that's God. When the silence feels purposeful rather than empty, that's God. When everything external says stop, but your spirit keeps whispering forward, that's God. These are not random occurrences, they are the divine footprints of your destiny unfolding. Before every elevation, there is always opposition. It rarely announces itself as an enemy. Often it arrives disguised as confusion, fatigue, or silence. When you begin to move forward in obedience, the unseen realm responds. Light attracts attention, and the moment your spirit rises, resistance rises too. But take heart, this is not punishment, it is preparation. You may notice that as soon as you decide to leave something behind, the weight to return increases. Old emotions resurface. Doubt starts whispering. What if I made a mistake? You begin questioning whether the wilderness you're walking through is proof that you've gone astray. But understand this, the wilderness always precedes the promised land. Even Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert before stepping into divine power. The first hidden challenge is spiritual fatigue. Not the kind that comes from physical exhaustion, but the kind that drains your hope. You'll wake up some days wondering if you've made any progress at all. The days blur, the prayers feel unanswered, and it seems like heaven has gone silent. But silence is often the classroom of strength. God is training your endurance, not ignoring your cry. The second challenge is isolation. As you walk forward, you'll realize fewer people understand your language. You can't explain the depth of your calling to those still comfortable in mediocrity. God separates before He elevates. The loneliness you feel isn't abandonment, it's consecration. You're being pulled away from noise so you can hear the next instruction clearly. The third is internal warfare. Your mind will battle your spirit. Fear will argue with faith. The logical part of you will try to rebuild what God tore down because it's easier to cling to familiarity than to trust the invisible. But remember, growth requires grief. You must release what you loved in order to embrace what you were born for. The fourth is temptation to compromise. The enemy knows he can't destroy your destiny, so he'll attempt to dilute it. He'll offer shortcuts, easy routes that promise quick relief but rob you of divine depth. Don't settle for imitation blessings. The authentic ones take time because they are built to last. And lastly, the challenge of waiting without clarity. You won't always know the next step. God often gives vision before instruction, promise before process. It's in that tension that faith matures. The dark in-between is not abandonment, it's activation. Heaven is teaching you to walk by spirit, not sight. Through these challenges, one truth remains. Resistance refines. Every tear becomes oil for your next level. Every unanswered question becomes a foundation for wisdom. Every lonely night becomes a conversation between your soul and your Creator. So if you feel pressure, confusion, or even fear, don't retreat. The pressure you feel is the evidence that purpose is pushing through. The struggle doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're forming. Keep walking. Even when the road feels empty, angels are walking beside you unseen but present, guiding you through the dark toward your next dawn. Now that you understand what's unfolding, the Spirit is releasing divine instructions for the days ahead. Guidelines not born of fear, but of faith. These are not mere suggestions. They are holy strategies meant to carry you through the transition and prepare you for what's waiting. Take them not only with your mind, but with your heart, for these next steps are keys. 1. Guard your gaze. Where your eyes focus, your faith follows. Stop staring at what God already closed. Do not scroll through memories or revisit messages that reopen wounds. The enemy wants your attention fixed backward, because where your focus goes, your energy flows. Lift your gaze to the horizon of promise. Keep your spiritual eyes fixed on the new. Every morning declare, Today I walk forward in faith, not backward in fear. 2. Protect your peace. Peace is the atmosphere where divine clarity grows. As you step into this new season, not every voice deserves your ear. Silence the noise that feeds your anxiety. Some conversations are spiritual traps bait designed to pull you back into old patterns. Learn to say no without guilt. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's stewardship. The calmer your soul, the clearer God's instructions will sound. 3. Stay anchored in the Word. In transition, emotions fluctuate. The only stable foundation is truth. Return to Scripture daily, not as a routine, but as communion. Let the Word become your compass. When confusion comes, open the Psalms. When fear knocks, read Isaiah 43. When weariness rises, speak Philippians 1:6 aloud. He who began a good work in me will complete it. The Word doesn't just inform you, it transforms you. Walk in silent obedience. Not every revelation should be shared. Some instructions are sacred whispers between you and God. The moment you speak too soon, you invite voices that can contaminate your conviction. Move quietly. Let your fruit speak louder than your announcements. Divine obedience doesn't need applause, it produces evidence. 5. Forgive quickly. As you rise, the enemy will try to poison your heart through offense. Don't take the bait. Forgiveness isn't about condoning. It's about clearing your channel for blessing. Unforgiveness ties you to old seasons, but release unties you from the past. When you forgive, you create spiritual space for new joy to enter. 6. Keep your altar alive. This is not the time to drift from prayer. Your altar, the private place of communion with God, is your power source. Pray when you understand and when you don't. Worship even when you can't see results. The atmosphere of prayer is where strategy downloads from heaven. You are not fighting for victory, you're fighting from it. 7. Expect divine interruptions. The plans you wrote in ink may soon require erasing. Don't panic. Divine timing rarely aligns with human scheduling. When things shift unexpectedly, don't assume loss, assume orchestration. God interrupts man's plan to protect his purpose. Every delay is secretly mercy in motion. 8. Move when prompted. Obedience is not just hearing, it's responding. When God says move, don't overthink. Step in faith even when details are missing. Miracles rarely meet you in your comfort zone. They wait on the other side of your courage. Heaven responds not to perfection, but to motion. 9. Keep gratitude as your rhythm. Gratitude is the language of trust. Thank God not only for what's visible, but for what's forming. Gratitude keeps your heart aligned with heaven's frequency. Even in waiting, whisper thanks. It shifts your atmosphere and multiplies your favor. 10. Speak life into your tomorrow. Words create worlds. Declare daily, I am walking forward in divine timing. I am aligned with heaven's purpose. No weapon formed against my progress will prosper. Speak light until darkness flees. Your mouth is not a mirror, it's a mandate. Use it to build your future. These instructions aren't about earning God's favor, you already have it. They are about positioning your spirit to move with divine rhythm. The moment you obey, grace activates around you. Angels move. Paths straighten. Hidden doors respond to faith-filled footsteps. Remember, progress doesn't always feel like motion. Sometimes it's peace in a place that once caused panic. Sometimes it's silence where you used to strive. That's how you know transformation is real. It no longer requires validation to keep walking. Walk with expectancy, but also with patience. Divine timing is never late, it's layered. Each instruction you follow creates momentum in the unseen. And soon, when everything clicks into place, you'll look back and realize obedience built your breakthrough. Keep walking, quietly, boldly, forward. Even as you follow the divine instructions, heaven wants you to know this: you are not walking unguarded. Every step you take in obedience activates protection you cannot see. The moment you said yes to moving forward, the spiritual atmosphere around you shifted. Angels were assigned, boundaries were drawn, and your path was sealed under divine covering. There will be moments when you feel exposed, when uncertainty tries to whisper that you are alone. But remember, feelings are not facts. The truth is, you are surrounded. You walk beneath the shadow of the Almighty. Every unseen danger has already been intercepted by grace before it reached your doorstep. When the path feels dark, know that light travels with you. The pillar of fire that guided the Israelites through the night has never gone out. It burns still now within your spirit. You are being led, not lost. Even the detours are divine routes. God says, I have gone before you to prepare the ground. What the enemy built to trip you will turn into stepping stones. Every arrow formed against you will shatter before it strikes. The storms around you are loud, but heaven's defense is louder. There are angels stationed at the corners of your destiny, warriors of light, commissioned to guard what you cannot guard yourself. They move in silence, intercepting plans that never reach your awareness. Some of your greatest miracles are the tragedies that never happened because God blocked them in secret. You've wondered why certain people suddenly distanced themselves, or why you narrowly escaped situations that could have spiraled into disaster. That wasn't luck. That was divine intervention. God has been protecting not just your life, but your purpose. And even when your faith trembles, His covering does not. The covenant remains unbroken. The same hand that lifted you out of the pit now builds a hedge around your progress. You are surrounded by a firewall of grace. Nothing enters without heaven's permission. So breathe easy. Let peace settle over your shoulders like a warm mantle. You don't have to fight every battle. Some are being handled in the invisible realm. Your part is to stay aligned, to keep trusting, to remain under the shelter of His word. You are safe. You are seen. You are covered. Heaven has marked your steps and written your name on the winds of protection. Even when the world grows darker, your light will not dim. God's favor will make you invisible to danger and visible to destiny. His presence is your shield. His love is your armor. His promise is your guarantee. So walk forward boldly, not in arrogance, but in assurance. You are guarded by something greater than fear, guided by something deeper than sight. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, not in this season, not in any to come. The way ahead may still be unknown, but you do not walk it alone. When you finally choose not to go back, something sacred begins to unfold within you. The atmosphere around your life changes. The heaviness that once clung to your spirit begins to lift, and in its place, peace starts to settle. It's not loud or dramatic at first. It's quiet, like dawn breaking after a long night. Yet you can feel it. Something has shifted. Transformation doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives as stillness. The wars inside your soul grow silent. You stop fighting for control and start flowing with divine rhythm. What once broke you now builds you. What once triggered fear now births gratitude. The wilderness that felt endless begins to bloom with purpose. God's promise begins to take form not in a distant tomorrow, but in your present awareness. You start to see beauty in what you once resented. The delays that frustrated you now make sense. The isolation that wounded you now reveals its wisdom. Every scar becomes a story of grace. Every tear transforms into oil for the next season. As you move forward, you begin to recognize yourself less by who you were and more by who you've become. You're calmer, wiser, more discerning. You no longer chase validation. You carry authority. The same places that once drained you can no longer contain you. You've shifted dimensions. The fulfillment of this prophetic journey isn't just external blessing, it's internal becoming. You've stepped into alignment with who you were always meant to be. The version of you that doubted, feared, or second-guessed has been replaced by one who trusts instinctively. You've learned that faith isn't about knowing the plan, it's about knowing the planner. You'll start to notice divine ease doors opening without force, opportunities finding you favor following your footsteps. These aren't random blessings. They're heaven's response to your obedience. When you moved forward, heaven moved with you. And as fulfillment begins to manifest, gratitude overflows. You'll realize that God never forgot you. He was preparing you. Every no protected your future. Every waiting season was heaven's way of aligning your spirit with your destiny. What once felt like loss now looks like liberation. Then one day you'll find yourself standing in the very place you once prayed for, and the weight of divine timing will wash over you. You'll remember the nights you almost gave up, the moments you almost turned back, and tears will fall not from pain, but from awe. You'll whisper, "Now I understand. It was all for this." That's the beauty of fulfillment. It humbles you. It makes you realize that God's plans were never meant to harm you, but to heal you, to prosper you, and to position you for impact. This transformation is more than testimony, it's transfer. Everything you learned in the dark will now become light for others. You will speak, and your words will carry weight because they were forged in fire. You will walk, and others will feel peace follow you because you carry the atmosphere of heaven. And when people ask, "How did you make it?" you'll smile and say, "I didn't go back. God led me forward." So let this truth settle deep within you. You are no longer waiting for breakthrough. You are becoming the breakthrough. You are living proof that forward is not just a direction. It is destiny. The promise has begun to bloom. The journey has birthed its fruit. And heaven is smiling over you, whispering, "This is what I meant when I said, don't go back." Take this moment. Breathe deeply. Let everything you've just heard settle into your heart like rain into the soil. You've walked through revelation, warning, and promise. Now heaven wants to seal this word within you. Before you go, speak these affirmations aloud. Let them become your rhythm, your declaration, your reminder that the past no longer defines you. Purpose does. Affirmations. 1. I am walking forward in divine alignment. Every step I take is guided by purpose, wrapped in grace, and protected by heaven's hand. 2. I release what no longer serves my calling. My heart is free from the weight of yesterday. My spirit is open to the new. 3. I am covered, chosen, and called. I move without fear because divine presence goes before me, beside me, and behind me. 4. I trust God's timing completely. What's meant for me will not miss me. I am not delayed. I am being delivered into destiny. 5. I will not go back. My eyes are set on the horizon of promise, and my faith is anchored in what's ahead. Blessing. May the peace of God rest upon you like morning light breaking through darkness. May His hand steady your heart when the winds of change blow strong. May your steps be sure, your path illuminated, and your spirit unwavering. When memories whisper, return, may heaven's voice thunder, move forward. When doubt tries to steal your courage, may the fire within you remind you who walks beside you. You are not the same as before. The old version of you fulfilled its purpose now. The new one rises radiant and ready. You carry the fragrance of transformation, the strength of surrender, the glow of divine completion. From this day forward, may every decision echo your new direction. May every word you speak carry the vibration of victory. May your life become living proof that God redeems every delay and restores every broken thing. Go forward with confidence, clothed in light, guarded by grace, and guided by glory. The same God who called you out will walk you in. The promise is still alive. The future is already written. So lift your head, steady your heart, and take your next step. You are not going back. You are going beyond. In the name of the one who began this work in you and will surely complete it, it is sealed. It is settled. It is done. Amen.